Darren, I spoke to people who help individuals find housing on a regular basis. They say the housing stock is already a challenge with the current population.
People love the green space. They love the walkability of Duluth. They love being close to the lake. Virtually any house that you live in on this hillside is within a 5-minute drive of any trail system. I mean, what other city are you going to get that in the United States?
Feels really special to have that access to take a deep breath, and whether it's on the lake or in a forest or by a river, feels like a really special attribute of this community.
We're seeing people already move from California or Utah or other places because they know that Duluth is potentially a climate refuge city.
Regardless of the reason people are moving here, is there enough room for an influx in the population?
In a lot of ways, Duluth has kind of an excess infrastructure because of the fact it was once built for, a larger population.
Duluth, of course, used to be a city of about 110,000, people, and that's when folks were having 2 or 3 kids, per household.
I would say the size of our streets and our gray infrastructure in terms of our sewer systems and things like that. I think that we have done a lot of work in that area and we are pretty well equipped in that area. But housing is tricky because people now tend to live fewer people to a household.
And now younger people are waiting longer to get married, or they're not having children, or having as many children. And so you need more units to house the same amount of people that we had units housing more people back in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
And the experts say the housing stock has not kept up with demand.
So the market right now is really tight, and we need housing at all levels. We are looking at our large employers like Sears and Essentia and UMD, trying to bring in new employees. And these employees need to find a place to live. And so people are wanting that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, open concept kind of design. And Duluth, having the oldest housing stock in the state, doesn't have a lot of that unless you're building new.
Home buying is a competitive process with fewer options available.
It was really what was the option singular that was available,
Right.
rather than waiting until we had a multitude of different places to look through and look at. It was really where in and around the city do we want to move, and it was the one place that's available there.
If homes are priced right in good locations with, pretty good condition, they're selling within 72 hours. And the market will ebb and flow depending on the season.
We did move in November, which isn't a very common time of year to have available housing, and we recognize that. But there certainly wasn't a plethora of options at that point.
Between the increased demand and nationwide issues, housing costs keep going up.
When I got into this industry in 2017, the average sales price of a home was $180,000. The average sales price of a home today in the greater Duluth Arrowhead region is $330,000.
So between inflated values and the interest rates where they are right now, I think getting into home ownership is difficult.
You have someone that comes in, writes 20, 30 grand over cash, first-time home buyer, they're only 5% down. They can't compete with that.
Affordable housing is also limited.
I think our housing crisis just continues to get worse. I think the lack of affordable units, the lack of units that will accept Section 8, rent subsidy vouchers continues to grow.
We did a housing study in 2019 that showed that we had a need of about 3,200 units that are affordable for folks earning 80% below the area median income. And a couple of years ago, we had a study done for downtown alone that showed that we needed about 1,000 or 1,200 units. And so we're already operating at a deficit of about 4,000 when all said and done.
Increasing the city's housing stock is an all-hands-on-deck effort.
The HRA finished construction of 18 cottages. We're currently building 70 units of affordable senior up at Harbor Highlands, and then we have a 40-unit affordable family housing project that will be going up at Harbor Highlands as well.
We've done Decker dwellings up behind Schneiderman Furniture. We've got Brewery Creek, going down on 6th Avenue and 4th Street. We'll have Grayview, which is a 72-unit affordable senior complex downtown as well, with daycare on the bottom. So those are some of the multifamily projects that we've done, but we also engage in single-family development, both through new builds and then acquisition rehabs. And we have about 325 of those units around the Duluth area.
To make it easier for developers, the city of Duluth has adjusted certain regulations.
We eliminated mandatory parking minimums, which adds unneeded cost to development if a developer chooses not to have those. That can then be, that saved money can go into, more units or more commercial space.
With the city passing ordinances in the last few years about being able to build on 25-foot lots, accessory dwelling units, all sorts of opportunities for people to creatively look at how can I increase the supply of housing in Duluth.
But is that enough?
We're certainly not building enough to meet or maintain the growing population, and that's why we have that mismatch of about 4,000 units that we could add just to meet folks that would want to live here for the jobs that we have and quality of life. And so we're going to have to get exponentially more serious on meeting the demand if we want to grow.
Now, of course, the city of Duluth is actively working on this issue. The mayor, however, was unable to respond to comment.
All right, Sabrina, thanks. Great series of reports there.